how good is Zorc? Zorc is an 8-star ritual monster with 2700 attack with an effect that destroys all monsters on your opponent's side of the field when it's a 1 or 2 on the dice. 3, 4 and 5 will destroy one monster on their field, and then the dreaded 6 will destroy all your own monsters. That's basically all you need to know about the card, so how good is it exactly? The thing is, I don't know. I didn't know how good Zorc was before this video because I've never used Zorc myself. Therefore, this has forced me to use the scientific method of actually playing, which is rare for me. I only really cover Go, I don't really play it. This is the deck I'm using. I believe this is a Chris Perovic special. He created the deck himself. I've either done him a great service or a great disrespect by attributing this deck to him, but I'm rolling with it. This is his deck. So game 1, and I've just realised that this is a very bad start because I've lied to you off the bat. I know everyone's going to be seeing the Karibo that I've just drawn, but let me explain. You might think I am a scrub, but I do believe that Karibo has some potential and needs a little bit of exploration before you disregard it completely. Two things about this deck: it has a very small trap lineup, and it is a light heavy chaos deck that sometimes struggles to get dark monsters in the graveyard. Let's have a look at the trap lineup first. We've got Waboku and we've got Threatening Roar. Okay, so obviously Threatening Roar stops the attacks on our monsters and Waboku does something similar. If we were to cut both of those traps entirely and replace it with Karibo, the first thing that we would do is make Heavy Storm, Dust Tornado, Mystical Space Typhoon, all those kinds of cards completely redundant. There'll be no more traps for them to get rid of, and then we can take our opponent by surprise by discarding a Karibo and then banishing said Karibo along with our light monster to play a Chaos monster. Am I advocating for Karibo as the next best card? Of course I'm not. Karibo kind of sucks. But be that as it may, I do believe we have found the Venn diagram of decks that Karibo could actually add something to rather than hinder. For that reason and that reason alone, he makes the cut. So it looks like game 1, Zorc did assist in getting me destruction effect and then subsequently winning, and then I promptly got 2 1s after that, so I lost that game and there's nothing really to show about it, so I'm just gonna skip right on to the next one. I tried to throw my opponent off in this next game with this fantastic zinger. This was before I decided to destroy him in other ways, namely with the Dark Master Zorc. So I've put talking about Zorc off for as long as I possibly can now, so let me talk about what I expected when I was going into this. I genuinely thought that the biggest problem I was going to run into with Zorc is not having enough tribute fodder to activate the ritual spell, i.e. it's quite easy with something like Relinquished, that only requires 1 star, you can just use your Sinister Serpent outright and summon the Relinquished, but with Zorc it requires 8 stars, and I thought this would prove to be very difficult, because obviously 8 stars is more difficult than 1. After playing with Zorc, however, I can safely say this was not the problem. You may notice that I am running the Masked Beast in my deck. This is simply to have a level 8 monster that is searchable by either Senju of the 1000 Hands or Manju of the 10,000 Hands. It enabled me to have an 8-star monster to sacrifice when I needed it. Granted, still not as consistent as Sinister Serpent discard for Relinquished, but it worked out quite well all the same. Also, if you're going to play Zorc, I truly believe that the only way to play him is through using the 9 searches, i.e. 3 Sonic Birds, 3 Manju, and then 3 Senju. Anything else for this kind of deck is just too slow. It has to be quick, and it has to hit hard and fast. That is the big draw with Dark Master Zorc. Let's move on to this very powerful effect. Now this effect, I don't think you gather how powerful this effect is until you actually play the card for yourself. Because of course on the outside it seems like a good effect, but it's only when I actually got into game that I really started respecting what Dark Master Zorc could actually do. Indiscriminately killing all your opponent's monsters and then being able to attack on top of that is very, very satisfying and a lot of fun to play with. So for that reason alone, I can recommend this deck for people who are just looking for something new and something fun, because it does fall into that category. The question then becomes, how often did I get screwed over by that horrible 6 roll? Too many times! It's a bitter pill to swallow to have all of your monsters destroyed, just simply because you got unlucky. And I can't lie, it did sour my experience, since especially when getting a 6 when a 1 or 2 would have won you the game, loses you the game. So I guess this leads into the logical question of, how good is Dark Master Zorc? It's about that good.